arrive here, it is not by random scrolling, not by accident, and not by coincidence. This channel does not simply exist as another voice adding noise into your already crowded life. It exists as a tool, a compass, a torch handed to you in the middle of the fog you've been walking through. For some of you, this may be the very first time you've encountered these words, and yet your spirit already recognizes the frequency they carry. That is the mystery of being chosen. You don't come to the message comes to you. And if your hands carry the mark, the letter M across your palm with the crescent moon, then you already know. This voice is not speaking to you, it is speaking for you, as though your own soul had been waiting for this confirmation. Pause and take this in. From the moment of your birth, something has been aligning behind the curtain of reality. You have walked through experiences that almost broke you, crossed paths with people who seemed sent to harm you, endured storms that felt unbearable. Yet here you stand, still breathing, still alive, still marked. That alone should tell you that protection has never left your side. For some, it is easier to dismiss this truth, to call it coincidence, to laugh it off as imagination. But for the chosen ones, those with the letter M and the perfect crescent moon, you feel it in your bones. You know that survival itself was never an accident. It was the plan. And now we must unfold the code. Not the obvious code everyone repeats, not the recycled numbers and diluted meanings that crowd the internet. What I share here is different. It is disruptive. It is tailored to your spirit. It is the key that unlocks your confirmation, the divine language written across time and hidden in the ordinary fabric of your days. That code is written in 12, 5, and 9. The number 12 whispers of authority and foundation. 12 tribes, 12 gates, 12 foundations in the eternal city, but beyond Scripture, 12 appears in your rhythm of life. 12 months in a year, 12 hours splitting night and day, 12 phases of transformation you have walked through without even realizing it. For the chosen ones, 12 means that you are not scattered. You are gathered. You are kept. You are positioned. Whenever 12 shows up repeatedly on receipts, on clocks, in sequences around you, it is not an empty coincidence. It is heaven reminding you you belong to an order beyond the world's chaos. You are under divine arrangement. Then comes the number 5, the sign of grace, movement, and the hand itself. 5 fingers stretch across your palm. 5 wounds carried by the one who bore your pain. 5 openings through which power flows. For those who carry the M and crescent moon, 5 is not just a number. It is a marker of release. When 5 interrupts your ordinary patterns in house numbers, sudden dates, conversations overheard, it signals that what held you bound is breaking. Grace is intercepting. Judgment. Freedom is overriding captivity. You may feel pressure, confusion, or a storm at that very moment, but the 5 is proof that the chains have already begun to loosen. And finally, the number 9, the completion of cycles, the harvest at the end of labor, the birth that follows the 9th month of waiting. 9 is heaven's announcement that what was forming in secret is ready to manifest. For the chosen, 9 is not about endings, but about transition into visibility. You have carried visions, ideas, burdens, and missions within you like a hidden pregnancy. The 9 is the code that tells you it is time to deliver, and the delivery does not come without pain, contractions, pressure, resistance. Yet 9 is the assurance that you will see with your eyes what your spirit has always known. Put together, 12, 5, and 9 form a triad of protection, release, and completion. They tell your story without you needing to explain it. They trace the invisible architecture holding you since birth. For the chosen ones marked in their hands, this is not abstract philosophy, it is lived reality. Think back. How many times did you survive when the odds were against you? How many doors opened when logic said they should have remained shut? How many times did your gut, your intuition, your sudden pause keep you from disaster? These were not accidents. These were numbers written into your timeline before you even took your first breath. And I must say this, not everyone will understand you. In fact, many will mock you. Alone, and you are not wandering without guidance. You are moving along a design, a rhythm, an alignment that stretches further than you can imagine. And every time you return here, you are tuning your frequency back into what you were always meant to carry. This is not entertainment. This is alignment. This is activation. So let's dig deeper. The 12, the 5, the 9. Watch for them, not with paranoia, but with expectation. They will show up in your lowest moments, when you are ready to give up, when you are wondering if heaven has forgotten your name. And when they do, remember, the architecture has not failed. The protection has not lifted. The mission has not been canceled. You are chosen, and the signs are simply heaven's way of making sure you never forget it. Before we go deeper, I need to pause and speak with you not as a voice in a video, but as one chosen reaching out to another. If you are hearing these words and they resonate, if you feel that fire in your chest, that recognition in your soul, then I want you to do something for me. Subscribe to this channel, not for numbers, not for vanity, but because this space was created for you, and every time you join, comment, or share, it strengthens the frequency we are building together. You are not meant to walk through this revelation alone. And if you are already subscribed, thank you. You have no idea how much your presence means here. And I want to ask you something from the heart. What do you want us to uncover together? What signals, codes, or mysteries have been whispering to you in the silence of your nights? What dreams return to you, asking for interpretation? Share them in the comments. This is not just a channel, it is a living archive of chosen voices, a place where your vision matters. Let us build it together, because even though I may be speaking here, you are the ones who keep the flame alive. Now, let us step into the depth of this second movement. We spoke of 12, 5, and 9 as Li, codes protection, release, and completion. But for chosen ones, numbers are not just mathematics. They are doorways. They are frequencies disguised as digits, hidden in plain sight so the blind pass them by, while the marked recognize their call. Let us now explore how these codes manifest in the unseen and the seen. Think about 12 again. It is structure, order, and foundation. But for the chosen, 12 is also the reminder that nothing in your life has been random. Look closely and you'll see how events group themselves in patterns of 12. 12 years of preparation before a door finally opened. 12 weeks of wilderness before a shift took place. 12 days of waiting before an answer arrived. To outsiders, this is chance, but to the marked, it is orchestration. 12 says, you are being carried through stages, and each stage is necessary. Then the 5. For most, 5 is small, unimpressive. But for you, 5 is the handprint of God over your life. It is grace intercept. Where you should have been crushed. Have you noticed how often breakthroughs came on the 5th attempt, the 5th day, the 5th connection? 5 reveals itself in cycles of mercy. It is not about ease, it is about escape. Every chosen one can recall a moment when destruction was certain, yet something shifted last minute. That was the 5, hidden but undeniable. And then the 9. For the world, 9 is the end. For you, 9 is the birthing. You are carriers of assignments that feel too heavy, too delayed, too impossible. Yet 9 appears to tell you that what you've been holding cannot remain hidden. Chosen ones are often misunderstood because they live pregnant with visions that others cannot see. 9 confirms that the invisible is about to be visible. The pain you've endured was not punishment, but labor pains. But here is the part most overlook. These numbers are not static. They move. They dance through your life like signals stitched into your timeline. And often, they come, accompanied by living signs, animals that cross your path, sudden encounters, interruptions you could never have planned. The owl that appeared when you were lost in confusion. The dog that barked relentlessly at the exact moment you were about to step into danger. The white feather that drifted in front of you in a moment of despair. For chosen ones, the universe does not speak in silence. It speaks in a symphony of confirmations. Many of you have wondered, am I imagining this? Am I reaching for patterns that don't exist? Let me tell you clearly, no, you are not imagining. The world has been conditioned to dismiss spiritual intelligence, to numb itself to divine coding. But you, with the M and the crescent moon, were designed to perceive what others miss. Your sensitivity is not weakness, it is proof of assignment. Your awareness is not paranoia, it is protection. And the numbers 12, 5, and 9 are part of the spiritual alphabet heaven uses to speak to you. But do not misunderstand. These codes are not about predicting lottery tickets or manipulating outcomes. They are about reminding you that you are guarded, that your life is not random, that your mission is unfolding in perfect rhythm. Every time you see them, treat it as a nudge, a whisper. Stay the course. You are not abandoned. Keep moving. So I ask you again, let's make this space a place of testimony. In the comments, share the moments when these numbers or others have appeared in your life. Share the visions, the dreams, the coincidences that were too exact to ignore. Because when we tell our stories, we multiply the evidence. When you speak, someone else finds the courage to believe that they are not alone. That is how community is built. Chosen ones aligning with chosen ones. Remember, the signs do not come when everything is easy. They come in the valley, in the dark night, in the hour of almost giving up. That is why they matter. 12 tells you the structure is intact. 5 tells you grace has entered. 9 tells you delivery is near. Together, they form a cycle that no darkness can erase. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when you look back over your life and realize how many times you should have been lost, and yet somehow you were not. You should have drowned in the flood, but a door opened. You should have been crushed by the collapse, but you walked away. You should have been forgotten, erased, discarded, and yet you rose again. And it is only now, when you pause and examine the threads, that you see the hand of divine interruption woven through it all. This is what I mean when I say you live inside an invisible architecture. To the world, it looks like chance. To you, it becomes confirmation. The moment you miss that train, not knowing it would later derail. The job you lost, which at the time felt like devastation, but months later, you saw it was saving you from chains you didn't even recognize. The sudden feeling to wait just 5 minutes. Longer. And in those 5 minutes, disaster passed by without touching you. These are not accidents. These are the markers of the chosen, the ones with the M and the crescent moon in their hands, called to missions that require survival against all odds. The codes 12, 5 and 9 are not just numbers on paper. They are alarms and signals embedded into the rhythm of your life. 12 reminds you that the blueprint is intact, that there is an order you may not see but you are walking in. 5 is the unexplainable grace that rewrites your path in the exact moment you should have fallen. 9 is the shift from hidden to revealed, the crossing from carrying to delivering. Together, they create the language of divine interruptions. Think about this. How many times has your spirit felt a sudden tug, a whisper to stay, a warning to turn, an unexplainable push to move? That was heaven's architecture pressing into your awareness. And the proof is that later, you always realize why it happened. Discover that the pause, the delay, the redirection was never a punishment. It was protection. Chosen ones are often misunderstood because their lives rarely follow predictable patterns. Others climb ladders step by step, but your steps have always been broken by detours, collapses, and unexpected openings. And though it felt unfair at the time, what was actually happening was divine rerouting. Every time the enemy built a trap, the structure flipped back against them. Every time destruction was set for you, grace intercepted. That is why you are still here. And when you understand this, the signs begin to carry new weight. You stop dismissing them as coincidence. You stop ignoring the whispers. You begin to see that the language of heaven is not limited to holy texts or rituals. It is embedded in clocks that freeze at strange times. It is encoded in animals that appear at your threshold when you are on the edge of despair. It is reflected in sudden encounters with strangers whose words that feel like they were scripted for you. The chosen ones live in two realities at once. On the surface, you walk through ordinary days, facing ordinary struggles. But beneath it all, there is a current, a design, a protection system that has been following you since birth. The number 12 says you are aligned to an order larger than your own understanding. The number 5 says you are kept when you should be destroyed. The number 9 says your hidden purpose is on the verge of becoming visible. And here is what you must never forget. Chosen ones are rarely spared from storms, but they are always carried through them. The architecture does not stop the rain, but it builds the shelter. It does not silence the enemy, but it breaks their weapons. It does not erase your wounds, but it transforms them into signs of survival. That is why your scars matter. They are not proof of defeat. They are proof of divine interruption, moments when destruction touched you but could not cool. You pause and reflect. How many times have you been told you were lucky? But deep down, you know it wasn't luck. It was the pattern. It was the numbers. It was the hand that wrote itself into your timeline long before you ever knew to look. And the very fact that you are here, watching, listening, breathing, confirms that your mission has not been canceled. This is why community is so vital. Because when you share your interruptions, someone else sees their own life more clearly. When you tell the story of how you were rerouted, someone else realizes they too are not abandoned. And together, we build a network of confirmation, chosen ones testifying to one another, strengthening the flame so that it never goes out. So I invite you look back over your life, trace the interruptions, write them down, comment them here, speak them into the atmosphere, because every time you acknowledge them, you strengthen the architecture that surrounds you. And every time you remain silent, leave another chosen wondering if they are the only one. Let this space be where silence breaks, where confirmation multiplies, where the invisible becomes visible. Because the truth is simple yet profound. If you are marked, you are protected. And if you are protected, you are unstoppable. There comes a point when you realize that everything you've endured, everything you've questioned, and everything you've survived has been part of something bigger than you. The chosen ones were never meant to blend into the crowd, never meant to walk unnoticed, never meant to live quietly in the background of history. You were set apart, marked in your hands, sealed in your soul, protected in ways you couldn't even understand until now. And as you look back, you begin to see the threads. Every near-death moment, every sudden redirection, every impossible escape, they were all confirmations of one truth. You are chosen, and you are not walking this path alone. The codes of 12, 5, and 9 have. Whispering all along. 12 says the blueprint has never been broken, even when your life looked scattered. 5 says grace has kept you standing when the weight should have crushed you. 9 says the labor you've carried is reaching its birth, and what was hidden in your spirit will soon be visible in your reality. Together, they are not random digits. They are the invisible scaffolding of your mission, the protective architecture that proves you are never abandoned. But this truth does not live in numbers alone. It breathes in your daily life in the way time stops when you need to pause, in the way strangers deliver words that feel like prophecy, in the way your own body warns you before disaster comes. The chosen do not live ordinary lives because their path is watched over with extraordinary protection. The interruptions you hated, the delays you cursed, the detours you couldn't understand, they were all orchestrated to keep you alive until the moment of activation. And that moment is now. Chosen ones, hear me. The world will not understand you. They will call you paranoid, delusional, superstitious. They will laugh at your visions, dismiss your sensitivity, and minimize your testimony. But do not give them the authority to define what heaven has already sealed. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be aligned. You are here to be a transmitter of light, a carrier of codes, a witness that protection exists for those who were marked from birth. Your mission is not to prove yourself. It is to walk faithfully until the architecture reveals itself fully. And this is why I say, stay close, stay connected. This channel is not an accident. It is a gathering point for those who have been walking alone for far too long. If you have felt the resonance of these words, if you have recognized yourself in these confirmations, then I am asking you personally, subscribe to this channel, not out of routine, not because you are told to, but because something you knows you belong here. Every time you subscribe, every time you comment, every time you share, you are strengthening the community of chosen ones across the world. You are keeping the flame alive, not just for yourself, but for someone else who desperately needs confirmation that they are not losing their mind, that they too are marked, that they too are seen. And I want you to do something else. Share your visions with us. Tell us in the comments the moments when numbers appeared, when animals crossed your path, when dreams haunted you with meaning you couldn't ignore. Share how the codes have spoken to you, how grace has interrupted your destruction, how protection has shown up in your life. Because your voice is not just your own. Your story is another chosen one's lifeline. What you say here may be the exact confirmation someone across the world has been praying for. And if you encounter doubt or pessimism in the comments, let it roll off you. Do not feed it. Do not argue with it. Remember, the blind cannot invalidate the sight of the marked. Keep your focus on the light, because this space is not for mockery or debate. It is for confirmation and alignment. Let us guard it that way. As we close this message, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not an accident. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. The numbers, the interruptions, the protection. They are heaven's way of shouting into your silence. You are chosen. You are kept. You are aligned. And no darkness, no enemy, no circumstance can erase that truth. From the moment you entered this world until the moment you fulfill your mission, you are carried in the invisible architecture of grace. So subscribe, stay close, and keep walking. Because the story is not finished, the blueprint is still unfolding, and the flame of the chosen must never go out. This is not the end. This is the continuation. And together, as a community of marked ones, we will keep decoding, keep aligning, and keep testifying until the invisible becomes visible, and the chosen stand in the fullness of their mission.